WGNS talks about all things local. It's Rutherford Issues with Brian Barrett. Weekday mornings at 10 on WGNS, AM, FM, and online. The Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and online at WGNSradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning on a wonderful Thursday morning. This is Bill Krause on the WGNS Roundtable for another delightful and exciting visit with friends, people who are leaders in the community, people who bring a lot of very positive efforts and results to Rutherford County. Return visit in our Roundtable is Dr. Trey Duke, who is Director of Schools for Murfreesboro City Schools, and Lisa Trail, who has been with the schools a long time, public information, and basically do everything to tell the world about the many, many wonderful things. We had Trey in the past talk about his background, and just a wonderful young man who certainly... and we all, and I have to say this, we all really should thank so many of these men and women in our public service who are doing such a phenomenal job. We take for granted a quality school system, and City Schools Murfreesboro is a quality district. Lisa, born where? All about Lisa, and I just learned she used to be at WGNS.
Yes, I'm a Middle Tennessee girl. I actually grew up in Cannon County and moved to Murfreesboro for college and kind of
went to MTSU.
Left for a few years and came back and have been here ever since. Yes, MTSU. I'm an
And
MTSU journalism major.
Major. And so tell about your WGNS days. You were still in school.
I started here when I was a senior in college, I guess, or a junior in college, and then continued to work with Bart for after I graduated. I did everything from live broadcasts to radio sales.
So you feel very much at home here.
I do.
That is terrific. And when you left WGNS, you went to...
I went to the healthcare industry. I stayed there for about 20 years doing a similar role as what I do here, which is
Local
communication, the local hospital here, and then I went to a health trust hospital as well.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And you've been one of the pioneers at Murfreesboro City Schools.
Oh, no.
Okay. Well, when I
There
say
are too
pioneer,
many people who pioneered our school district. I am not one of them. I just tell the stories.
You've got it.
Yeah.
Well,
The
Trey-
pioneers are the ones who educate.
Trey-
I will say though, Lisa's benefit. I know when I came on as director, I had spent most of my career actually in the north end of the county in the Smyrna area, and so when I came to Murfreesboro City, even though I lived in Murfreesboro, Lisa was incredibly valuable for me because of that rich history she had in Murfreesboro to make sure that I could pick up a really successful school system and not lose sight of those great community volunteers that had done so much to build our school system. And that's really one of the huge assets she brought to me personally. I will tell you that one of the things we really pride ourselves on in the school system is our connection to the community.
Yes.
And making sure that those people who help build this city stay connected to our school system. And Lisa's an invaluable resource to that because of her connections, and she really helps foster those connections to make sure we don't lose those connections, so that we believe the school system belongs to everybody, whether you have kids in the system or not, because we know that great schools make great cities. And so it's not just communications. Lisa does a lot. Of course, everyone knows Lisa because she makes the announcements for snow days, which is probably the most important thing, but it goes beyond that so much more to, again, making sure that everyone in our city understands the work that we're doing to make this city great.
I recall our last visit, Trey, when you talked about decisions of when you decide or decide not to close for snow day or any type of bad storm day. Who made the decision? Did you guys close on Eclipse Day, or was that just Rutherford County?
You know what? We didn't. We stayed open. We
Okay.
felt like we could do it in a way that would make it best for our community and best for the students here in Murfreesboro directly. So we decided to stay open. Lisa was very instrumental in working with our foundation and allowing us to purchase over 10,000 pair of Eclipse glasses through donations of our
Thank you,
City
City Schools Foundation.
That's
yes.
right, our City Schools
Fantastic.
Foundation, so that we were able to give every teacher and student a pair of Eclipse glasses. And when the time came, we went out to the school grounds and we watched it together. It was a great kind of common experience that we all got to share together. And I was telling someone that night, I said, you know, when I think back on my childhood and the times I was in elementary school, there are certain things that just stick out in your mind.
Yep.
And I have no doubt, as I went to a school and experienced it with a bunch of students as well, the excitement of the students screaming and look at it, there it is, as they watch the moon pass in front of the sun. I have no doubt that 20 years from now, those students will look back and think about and tell their children
Exactly.
about how they all went out and watched it together with their class.
When is the next one? In about 20-some
It's
years?
2044 or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
20
coming
years.
through. So yeah, about 20 years. And
Did they
So
do
Lisa's already working
did
on
they do
getting
the
donations for
cardboard?
classes.
Did they do the cardboard?
Yeah. They did. It was really fun to watch because it wasn't just about the 3 minutes of the eclipse. It was about all week and preparation and talking about the eclipse. And it actually went really, really terrifically with our 5th grade standards. And so just wonderful experience all around. But they did use the cardboard. Some children were out there with the cardboard.
Yep.
Some were out with the different types of not pans, but what am I trying to strainers. Sorry, I couldn't think of my words there. So strainers, watching the sunlight coming through those holes in the strainers. So they're all across, it was just different and based on the school and what they really wanted to focus on. But overall, it was really nice to know that 9,000 students was outside experiencing it. And we did have the history from 7 years ago when we knew we could do it.
2017,
Like
correct.
we knew we could do it because we'd had such a great experience before.
How did the little kiddies like kindergarten, 1st grade go?
Oh, they loved
did
it.
Did
great.
they?
They
I
did
bet.
great, yeah.
Yeah.
And it did happen at an odd time of the day. It was real close to dismissal. So for some of our earlier school dismissals, they got to experience together. For some of our schools that were later dismissing during the day, we actually had families get to come and watch with them. We tried to make it a lot of fun. Our school nutrition team bought 10,000 moon pies, so everybody got a moon pie that day. So again, it was a lot of fun.
This is the end of another school year.
Yes.
Coming up close, summertime approaching. Kind of give a quick overview. So, how did 2023-2024 academic year go?
You know what? I'm really pleased with the year that we had. Right now is everyone in public education, of our parents know right now it's a big week for us. This week and next week, our students right now are engaged in state testing, and so that's something I said this morning in an email, that's one of the ways we measure our progress, but it's definitely not the only way we measure our progress. But I'm really confident with what's happening in our classrooms. I'm really pleased with what our teachers are doing and the focus we have on growing our students academically. It's been a year of growth for us. We are up almost 200 students from where we were this time last year. We are growing about 32 students every reporting period, which we break our school into 20-day reporting periods.
That's a new class every time.
Yeah, well, it's a
Wow.
class and a half. That's
Class-
what I tell
oh,
people. 20
see,
in elementary.
From California, 32 was the max limit of a
That's right.
elementary school class.
We
Tennesseans are very lucky on
Yeah.
the lower class ratio.
And our boards had a priority in that as well, as trying to keep those ratios at that 1 to 20 level. So that's about a class and a half every 20 days that we're growing. So we're knocking on the door of 9,500 students.
Wow.
That puts us, I looked at some data yesterday, Murfreesboro City Schools, there's 145 school districts in Tennessee, and Murfreesboro City Schools by itself is the 20th largest in size, just for some perspective.
And that's only
there.
K through 6.
K6, absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
but we've handled that growth well. We continue to work with our city to make sure we can meet those needs. But really great school year. Great. We've had a lot of successes student-wise, teacher-wise, and I'm very confident that when we look back over the summer and wrap up this year, we're going to have a lot to celebrate, and we're going to have some really clear things that we can focus on for next year as well.
Yeah, we've definitely been celebrating, and our students they're not just in the classroom, they're outside of the classroom as well. They're competing district-wide, they're competing regionally and statewide, and have brought home a lot of awards and all the achievements, everything from Beta Club to our STEM and robotics competitions.
Wow.
Art. We have children last week. I think the display just came down, but we had our students were displaying at the Frist, and when they can display, when you
Really?
can say
That's
my
the
art
pinnacle.
hung at the Frist,
That's
that's
the pinnacle.
impressive.
Yes.
So it just goes all across the board, from those true academic studies that are involved in the STEM to those extracurricular, where we're also going out to MTSU to do programs like Club Marvel, just to teach children or get children on that campus to know that there's a future,
Yes.
that they have so many possibilities. And I think the more we expose them to those possibilities, the more their brain is just absorbing and understanding that there are jobs we don't even know about.
Oh,
and my
absolutely.
goodness, when they graduate, there's jobs that don't even exist yet. We also work with the Chamber of Commerce and United Way. We did Amazing Shake this year, which is a soft skill program that was so great to watch and witness. And I think as we grow, it just really, you see the new principals coming on board with ideas. We have new administrators that in our central office with new ideas, just to say, let's not do something just because we've always done it. Let's look at what's best for our students and our staff.
Give a shout out to the phenomenal staff that you have and the phenomenal number of teachers you have. Men and women who don't just go to work, men and women who go to work not only who care, to be creative, to be constructive, and to be the builders of tomorrow.
Absolutely. And we talk about our teachers, but we have so many support staffs as well that are helping those teachers to just be able to focus on that classroom. And that makes such a difference. I mean, when we talked about snow days earlier, and so snow days are something we deal with, but the people who are really working hard on snow days is our maintenance and our
Exactly.
transportation and all those
the
other
bus
folks that are
drivers, of
still
course.
coming in and making sure that our sidewalks, everything is safe for the children to come back to school. And I think that's what we have to say, is that as a district itself, whether you're a teacher or you're in maintenance or you're in our administrative,
Counseling,
it's everybody working together for a common goal of just that successful child experience.
How is the parental involvement, parent involvement?
I think that's something that we're always focused on and wanting to grow and continue to do better. We have great parent involvement, and I always say that looks different for every family, because not every family can show up to school every day.
Sure.
I have 2 students in the school system as well. I work full time. My wife works full time. Volunteering during the school day is something that's not always something we can do, but that doesn't mean we can't be involved. Parent involvement is about really parent engagement, about being engaged in what students are doing, having those conversations with teachers, having that open 2-way conversations. I believe that we care I know we care so deeply about every child that comes through our doors, but I also know that there's no one that loves and cares for that child more than the parents that take them home at night. And so we want to partner with them, and we want to make sure that they understand we're here to walk alongside them, and we have the common goal. We know parents want their children to succeed. We want their children to succeed, and so we want to do that together.
I'll give you a close objective. I was visiting with a gentleman a couple of weeks ago, and he was so proud of his brand new addition to the family. But you got to hear the addition. It wasn't a child. It wasn't a grandchild. It wasn't a great-grandchild. It was his first great-grandchild.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever met a person who's a great-grandparent. So we got talking, and I said, so how are you going to get involved? He said, from the time we had grandchildren, I became an active participant in my school district as a grandparent.
That's right.
And I really think as time suddenly becomes opportunity for grandparents or great-grandparents or even great-great-grandparents, the opportunity to involve a grandparent in the lives of their children and see what it's like. And it gives them a chance to not only look to the past, but they're very involved in looking to the future.
And I think that's important too, because especially if you've grown up in Murfreesboro and we have longtime residents, our schools have a rich history. So I am confident that there are grandparents walking our community today
Sure.
who went to city schools, who was a Mitchell Nielsen student, went to Reeves Rogers, spent time at Hobgood. And so we want to make sure that rich history continues, and we continue to celebrate those great things that are going on. But grandparents are incredibly important. I know as a parent of 2 kids, I said I knew my parents loved me, but boy, I know they really love their grandchildren.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And they care about it. And so we always are looking for that input. Even when we think about parent engagement in little ways, we are in the budget season right now. We're focused on next year and making sure our budget is prepared. Lisa prepared a survey to send out to parents that our board had really emphasized and said, we want to make sure our parents are engaged in the budget process. Where do they want to see that money spent? It's their taxpayer dollars that we're using. Let's make sure they have a voice in that process. And so, again, parent engagement can look very different from reading to class, volunteering, cutting out laminate at home, or just letting your voice be heard and supporting your teachers. We appreciate any level of engagement, whatever that level is.
I always thought a project that I saw with my children and grandchildren, I loved the project when the child had to do a family tree or a family study and learn about their heritage and ultimately ask the questions, go back in the attic and look for old pictures and build a family legacy. New schools, building new schools.
Well, right now we are focused on, we're growing. Right now,
Sure.
the most of our growth is happening on the west side of the town, which I think is something we've talked about before on the other side of I-24 in that Overall Creek, Veterans Parkway, Salem area. Just a explosive growth happening over there. And really great for the city, not just our homes going over there, but a lot of new businesses are going up over there as well. And so that is an area we're watching very, very closely. One of the things we want to do is be good stewards of our school system and the taxpayer dollars. So although we are eyeing that, knowing that need is coming very quickly in the future, we also want to make sure that we are maximizing space in all of our buildings where we have room. So we're looking at other possibilities as well as making sure, especially toward the inner part of the city where we actually have a little bit of room in some of those classrooms, are we filling those seats as well before we go to our taxpayers and say, we want to build a new school. However, that being said, we cannot underestimate the fact that we are growing very quickly.
Yes. Well,
so there is no immediate plan right now, but I will say as we look toward the future, we are watching that west side very closely.
I keep thinking of your counterpart with Rutherford County, and we had this discussion recently, and he said the challenge that they have is in Laverne with a 6,000 home community planned on Burkett west of I-24, and the amount of schools required for elementary and middle and high school is massive, and the bonding capacity may or may not be able to allow it. So you get a crisis of growth. Growth is nice, but growth, if it's managed poorly, can be a disaster. No question.
I definitely think that, we work with our county planning, our city planning all the time to know where that growth is coming. And if you look at our investment in our taxpayer dollars, how we spent it as far as growth over the last 10 years, you'll see that we started with where could we expand. So we have expanded classrooms at Black Fox. We have expanded classrooms at Hobgood twice now. Reeves Rogers, that will be our new addition this year. So we will break ground on Reeves Rogers as far as a front area, which will allow us to have more room for parent meetings. Just that whole entrance section, our nurses station is going to get a little larger, and we'll have some other counseling areas as well. So that'll be the one big thing you'll see as far as this year coming up.
And we'll break ground on that in July, I think.
July. This summer it'll happen.
Next year, our families at Reeves Rogers are going to be dropping kids off a little bit through a construction zone, but we are thrilled to add that extension onto that building to provide just more space to serve more kids and to serve them well.
Well, without creating a controversy, with this growth, is there continued realignment of districts or school areas served?
We did a rezoning, I guess, 2 years ago, again, to help address the west side of town. And that's something that's always on the table. I will tell you, our school board always handles that they handle it great, but they do it cautiously because we know that people build homes and they buy homes because of where that school is zoned.
Yes.
So anytime you look at rezoning, you really are, you inadvertently, maybe, and out of necessity, having to change plans that families had. But what I say is, if we have to do that, we do that with a lot of forethought. We do it with a lot of input, and we always try and make sure that we have grandfathering clauses in there to help students not have to change schools too many times.
And without surprises.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
we
Oh,
really try to
yes.
tell our parents early on, this is what we're thinking. Come give us your feedback. It may not be always what they want, but they know it's coming.
And when you live in a community that grows as fast as we do, I mean, that unfortunately is something we deal with. You know,
question.
I was proud and privileged to be able to open the Salem, the last school we built, as the principal there, and that involved a rezoning. And you know, I told families, I said, as fast as we're growing, just know that by the time your kindergarten student gets to middle school, we're probably going to have a couple more middle schools. By the time they get to high school, we're going to have new high schools. I would be very cautious about making long-term living plans
exactly.
in Rutherford County.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. We're having a delightful visit with representatives, leadership from the city schools here in Murfreesboro, Dr. Trey Duke, Director of Schools, and Lisa Trail. I love the last name Trail because we're on the right trail.
We
for
are on the
quality
right trail.
education, you know? Or I could sing
There's
the old
al-
song,
there's
Happy
always-
Trails to you.
Always different things you can do with that name.
We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb and Associates. You might know me as the voice of the Blue Raiders, but I want to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Whether you're buying or selling, it's time to choose Chip. Do you have a growing family and need to upsize? Are you an empty nester now and need to downsize? Are you thinking of selling your current home but just worried you can't find something else? Well, it's time to choose Chip. I'm looking to be your trusted advisor in real estate. I'm Chip Walters with Exit Realty Bob Lamb and Associates.
Hey fellas, if you've been feeling tired and grumpy and have noticed a lack of motivation and drive, you may have low T. Low testosterone levels can cause weight gain, loss of muscle mass, and so much more. I recommend Low T Center, which is where I get my levels tested. They make it quick and easy to get your levels checked, and it's only $25. And with their on-site lab, you'll get your results back in about 25 minutes. Most insurance is accepted for treatment. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Boots, Boots, Boots. French's Shoes and Boots is your hometown store for the latest in Southern style and unbeatable prices. French's famous bargain racks are loaded with deals on name brand footwear priced 70 to 90% below retail. Come see why French's has been Tennessee's favorite place to shop since 1903. Find that new favorite pair you'll be proud to wear at French's Shoes and Boots.
Shop at French's Shoes and Boots.
1837 South Church Street in Murfreesboro.
This responsible gaming message is brought to you by the Tennessee Lottery. When you play the lottery, it's important to play responsibly. Know your limit and spend only what you can afford. Set a budget and stick to it. And remember, as long as you're having fun, you're always a winner in our book. The Tennessee Lottery is a proud supporter of National Problem Gambling Awareness Month. To learn more about problem gambling resources, visit tnlottery.com.
Hi, this is Bob Cornell, pastor of Covenant Church right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. The answer that you've been looking for is found in Jesus and what he accomplished at the cross. You see, Jesus changes lives from the inside out. We would love for you to join us at Covenant Church, located at 1124 Brinkley Ave right here in Murfreesboro. We have services Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. and Tuesdays at 7 p.m. You can learn more about us at our Cornell Ministries YouTube channel. We want you to grow in Christ at Covenant Church.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by the law offices of John Day and Americare Pest Control.
This is a paid legal ad.
Hi, this is John Day of the law offices of John Day. For more than 30 years, my team and I have worked hard to help injured people throughout Middle Tennessee. Over that time, we've helped thousands of people get the legal help they need when they've needed it the most. And if we're not able to help or aren't the right lawyer for you, we'll do the best to point you in the right direction. If you've been injured, call the law offices of John Day for a free consultation. And remember, there's no fee unless we win your case.
WGNS Good Neighbor Events keeps you informed and has for 77 years. The Lineball Library is having a local author book signing. Young Brooks C. Harmon is going to be at the Lineball Library, not this weekend, but Saturday, April 27th, the weekend after this one. From 9 until 1, he'll be signing his book, The Baseball King. Brooks attends high school at Franklin Road Christian School. Again, his book is The Baseball King. Meet our young local author in person. Brooks Harmon, right there at the Lineball Library, Saturday, April 27th, from 9 until 1. April 27th is also the National Drug Take-Back Day. And it's also Pioneer Days at Cannonsburg Village, right there at 312 South Front Street, 10 until 4, Saturday, April 27th. Don't throw away Old Glory. Bring your tattered American flag to WGNS and let the girls from BSA Troop 2019 at Trinity United Methodist Church retire it with dignity. Plus, we also recycle Bibles. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
Look for gradually decreasing cloud cover for this afternoon with highs pushing up to 87. Showers and storms then likely for tonight, low of 64. I'm meteorologist Michael Caro, News Radio WGNS. Right now it's 68.
Middle Tennessee Electric organizing Rutherford County's 23rd annual Earth Day celebration Saturday, April 20th, 10 to 2 on the Murfreesboro Square. Check out the Kids Zone, hands-on games and activities, free fun for the whole family. More online at rcearthday.com.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and worldwide at WGNSradio.com.
Crow's second segment of the WGNS Radio Roundtable on a beautiful Thursday morning as we're trying to decide whether we're winter, spring, or summer. If you don't like it today, wait for tomorrow. It might be different. Having a wonderful visit, certainly an informative visit, with the Director of Schools for Murfreesboro City Schools, Dr. Trey Duke, and the Public Information Officer for a number of years for the city schools, Lisa Trail. Let's talk about some of the highlights of students and teachers, awards, and where they stand, because you know, we can measure by statewide or national testing, we can measure test scores and so forth. But when we see so many students and teachers and staff suddenly go above and beyond into the atmosphere of excellence, who are they? How do we recognize them? How do we acknowledge them?
Yeah, I would say great school systems are made, or all great organizations are made up by the great people that work in them, and we are no exception in Murfreesboro City Schools. We've had really the last probably 3 years, I feel like our teachers, and I'll start with teachers specifically, then we'll talk about students, but our teachers and our staff specifically have just really garnered a lot of state and local recognitions. 2 years ago, we had the Tennessee recipient of the Milken National Educator Award.
Wow.
We had the Middle Tennessee Teacher of the Year, one of three. They do it East Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and West Tennessee Teacher of the Year. We had the Middle Tennessee Teacher of the Year. Last year, Mr. Barge, who was principal at Overall Creek, was the Middle Tennessee Principal of the Year.
Wow.
Which is just fantastic when you think there are over 2,000 public schools in Tennessee, and to be in the top three was just fantastic. We just learned recently that our 3rd through 6th grade reading and language arts specialist is a finalist for Middle Tennessee Supervisor of the Year.
Wow, that is great.
And it was also just announced that Lauren Fluharty, who is a 6th grade teacher at Discovery School, is a Tennessee State finalist for the Presidential Award for Excellence in Math and Science Teaching, which is the highest honor given by the federal government for teaching. We are so proud of Ms. Fluharty and the excellent work she's doing and to get this recognition. But I'm also proud to say, you know, she's not the first. 2 years ago, Aaron Nunley, who teaches for us at Overall Creek, was also a Tennessee State finalist for the Presidential Award of Excellence in Teaching Math and Science. And so a lot of great things happening with our staff. We're so proud of them. And, you know, the thing about that, I can continue to list names of people who have gotten these recognitions, but I am confident to say there are hundreds and hundreds more behind those few that are equally deserving and are doing that great work. And so really when we talk about our teachers and our staff and our principals winning these awards, it really is just them representing all the great employees that are happening, that are found in Murfreesboro City Schools. A lot of great students, too, getting recognitions. In fact, at our next board meeting in April, we're recognizing a student from Hobgood who just published her first book. We're so excited to recognize her.
I'd love to have a book review.
That's right. So we're celebrating that. Lisa, I think Read to Succeed Spelling Bee was last week.
It was last Friday. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah,
And
the winner came out of Overall Creek.
yeah,
and,
sixth grade student won for us.
Yeah, we recognize them at our board meetings. So if you want to know all the great things happening, we do try to get children there every single televised board meeting, just so that we can recognize them and thank their parents, their grandparents, whoever else is with them, for their
grandparents and great
grandparents. Tremendous work. And one that Dr. Duke never mentions, but he also is being recognized on a national level for the top 35 communicators, directors of school, I got to get this right. New directors of school as a top communicator in the nation.
I would second that motion without a question.
And I need to actually get the right title, but it's a national organization recognizing him, and we're very proud, but he will never mention that.
That's right.
But I think it's really of interest. We can have great pride in the achievements. But I also have great pride in Murfreesboro City Schools for helping the boys and girls who may not be on the top of the level. And the amount of support and motivation and encouragement and assistance with your staff and your teachers to assist the slower learner, the one who isn't climbing the ladder as fast as the ones we suddenly see in the headlines.
Well, and I think that's the most important part when we're talking about these students who are achieving. Your art at the Frist or right now at City Hall may not be the one who is doing the honor row at school.
Right.
Or Bradley just had a musical, The Little Mermaid, that was fabulous. So that's an opportunity to really show your talents in that art and creativeness that may not come through in math and science.
Sure.
Maybe both, but like I was much better in the theater than I was in the science classroom. I will tell you that. So don't base me off of my grade in science. I'd much rather go and do a public speaking. So I think we have so many opportunities for children to succeed that it doesn't necessarily mean they have to succeed in that honor row. It's so many opportunities. Whether robotics brings out so much. It's not just creative, it's thinking in advance and the collaboration among your peers and knowing that maybe your best talent is driving the robot, not necessarily deciding what the program is for the robot. So every student has a talent, and it's up to us to figure out what that talent is and work with those parents to let it grow, because we want them to be successful. And you don't have to be that honor row student to have great success in your life.
And you've just hit such an important point. A parent has to look at their children and not suddenly take great pride because the one child has been honored and acknowledged. They have to also, like the teacher, recognize the uniqueness of each child, the potential of each child, the talent of each child. It's almost like when you have children and one is great in baseball and you all go out to the baseball game, rah, rah, cheer, wow. And the second child is sitting there, couldn't throw a baseball if they had to try. So what kind of rah, rah, rah are you going to give that second or third child in your family to recognize their uniqueness?
Yeah, there's talents there. You just have to look for that unique talent.
And that's what we really try to do in Murfreesboro City School, is making sure we're making those pathways of success for every child. So, whether it is in Science Olympiad, which is coming up, whether it is in the English language arts, like our student that just published that book in writing, whether it's in, as she talked about, Bradley, who just did an amazing theatrical production of The Little Mermaid that really just kind of blew everyone's socks off. We want to give students those opportunities and exposure. That's what elementary school is about. Elementary school really is about. Look at all the possibilities and let's find that passion you have. One of the things we talk about a lot in our district is we want to empower students, and that means to me that students have choices. And at the end of the day, we've done our job as a school system is when they leave us, they have a multitude of paths to choose from, and they're not saying, I have to go this path because it's all I'm prepared for. Whatever they choose to do, we want to make sure that they're
transition from 6th grade to 7th. Middle school starts in 7th, correct?
So yeah, we have a little overlap in 6th grade. Yeah.
Okay, right.